Growing support among working-class voters hands the Tories their biggest lead over Labour in a year, new poll reveals. Growing support among working-class voters has handed the Tories their biggest poll lead in a year, it emerged last night. In a major boost to Theresa May, the Conservatives now boast a 7-point lead over Labour. It is the party's biggest advantage since the general election a year ago, in which Mrs May lost her Commons majority, and the fifth poll in a row to show the Tories with a poll lead of more than 4 points. The poll also showed Jeremy Corbyn's personal popularity ratings have plummeted. The lead comes despite a week dominated by public infighting between cabinet ministers over Brexit. The YouGov poll for The Times put the Conservatives on 44%, a rise of 2 points in a single week. Labour was down 2 points on 37% and the Lib Dems down a point to 8%. UKIP are unchanged on 3% and the Greens up 1 point to 3%. Much of the increase in Tory support has been attributed to a rise in backing among working-class voters who are traditionally seen as Labour's base. Among that group, 48% now back the Conservatives, up from 35% in January. By contrast, support for Labour has plummeted from 46% in January to 37% now. Asked this week who would make the best Prime Minister, 37% backed Mrs May. Only 24% backed Mr Corbyn, a fall of 7 points since the start of the year and the lowest level since May last year. The proportion of people who think leaving the EU is the wrong thing to do has fallen to 44%. However, some 64% say the government is handling the negotiations badly, the highest level this year. The early months of this year were dominated by the Salisbury nerve agent attack on Sergei Skripal and his daughter Yulia. Mrs May immediately pointed the finger at Russia, and coordinated an international response which saw more than 100 Russian intelligence officers kicked out of Western countries, including 23 from the UK. Mr Corbyn came under fire over his repeated refusal to blame Moscow, despite evidence that the agent used in the attack, Novichok, was originally produced in Russian labs. In March, Labour was also engulfed in a crisis over anti-Semitism. Mr Corbyn was forced to apologize after it emerged he had backed an artist whose anti-Semitic mural was being taken down. Leading Jewish groups also accused him of failing to confront widespread hatred of Jews within sections of the hard left. Last month, Mr Corbyn faced fresh questions about his leadership after the local election results. He boasted that Labour was going to do very well in the first test of public opinion since last year's election, and leading opposition figures said they would paint London red and make inroads into Tory supporting areas. But Labour failed to gain a single town hall in the capital and conceded a swing in the overall vote share to the Conservatives.